माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देवदेव। श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तिसुदेशिकेन्द्रं द्वैपायनं सूत्रकृतं मुनीन्द्रं श्रीशङ्करं भाष्यकृतं यतीन्द्रं मद्देशिकञ्चापि नमामि विद्ये। ओम नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्यासम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। सर्वोपप्लवरहितप्रज्ञानगणः प्रत्यगर्तो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि। ॐ प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। Pranam everyone. We are in chapter 4, Sloka number 13. Shri Bhagavan uvacha Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam gunakarma vibhāgashah tasya kartāramapi mam vidyakartāramavyayam. So here Bhagavan is giving an understanding to Arjuna that the 4 varnas were created by him, and that is given in the first line. And of course in the second line he basically disassociates himself from that. So we saw that there is actually kind of a 2 different things that Bhagavan is conveying in the same sloka. But anyway, we were doing a vichara on the first line in the last class. We saw that for spiritual upliftment, our Shastras have divided an individual's life into 4 parts, which is known as ashrama Vibhāga. So an individual goes through brahmacharyam, then followed by grihastha-ashrama, then followed by vanaprastha-ashrama, then sannyasa-ashrama. And then similarly the society has been classified into 4 parts. One section is called brahmanas, then kshatriyas, then vaishyas and shudras. And we saw that these classifications can be based on 3 parameters or 3 dimensions. The first dimension we saw was gunas. So there are character based classification of which category that the individual belongs to. And the characters before we saw the characters, we saw what is sattva, what is rajas, what is tamas. And then we saw a brahmana, a person who has got brahmana guna would be high on sattvika guna, supported by rajasic, followed by tamasic. And then for a kshatriya, the rajas would be predominant, but that would be supported by sattvik, followed by tamasic. So a guna brahmana is a person who is interested in spiritual pursuits. He likes to withdraw himself. He prefers solitude. He prefers contemplation, inquiry loving. That sort of a person is a guna brahmana. And for a guna kshatriya, this person is full of activity, is outgoing, active, energetic, dynamic, highly motivated person. But he is not interested in self-centered activity. He wants to contribute, he wants to serve, he wants to uplift and help the society. Then the third classification was Guna Vaishya. Guna Vaishya is also a predominantly Rajasic Guna personality, but it would be supported by Tamasic Guna followed by Sattva Guna. So in this case also this person is highly motivated, highly energetic, The only difference between this person and the Kshatriya is that this person is more focused on self-centered activity. He is more interested to amass wealth. He is not much thinking about contributing to the society. Then the last classification was Gunakshudra, where the predominant guna that is prevalent in this kind of a person is tamas. This tamas will be supported by rajas, followed by sattva. Sattva is at the lowest. And for this person is passive, lethargic. He is not interested in either material success nor spiritual success. His entire life is about how to survive, and then finally die. So that is based on the gunas. Then we saw that this classification was based on gunas. There is another classification that can be based on karma. Karma being profession. So a karma brahmana is a person who is actually involved in teaching, studying, teaching, chanting, reading and interpretation. So we saw adhyayanam, adhyapanam, parayanam, patanam, pravachanam. So this person, they dedicate their lives to learn and to teach. Primarily our scriptures. Because our scriptures are both extensive as well as intensive, it contains a wide range of topics and it has got detailed commentaries on every topic, every subtopic, every subtopic. So there is a need for having a group of people in the society who would be able to carry forward this knowledge from one generation to another generation. So that sort of a profession is a karma brahmana. Then a karma kshatriya is a person who is involved in public service, administration, maintaining law and order, defending the country. So that person's job is to provide a peaceful environment for the citizens, for all people, an appropriate environment for all people to pursue their personal and spiritual goals. Then a karma vaishya is a person who is involved in commercial activities, business, trade, and agriculture. This person is a vaishya karma. He is ensuring that the wealth of the society is kind of, or the goods are available to every section of the society. That is his responsibility. Then a karma shudra are persons who have no leadership skills, but they are there to support the brahmanas, the vaishyas and the kshatriyas in their jobs. So they do the activities that are needed for these three sections of the society. So that is the second dimension on which the varnas can be divided or classified. Then the final classification or the final dimension by which the varnas can be divided or the society can be divided is based on jati. When we say jati, it means birth, it does not mean caste. And a jati brahmana is a one who is a child of brahmana. A jati kshatriya is a child of kshatriya, jati vaishya is a child of vaishya, jati shudra is a child of shudra. So what we saw is that a person, an individual can be classified in three ways, in three different varnas, based on their birth, based on their profession and based on their character. So there can be a jati brahmana who can be doing a Shudra karma with a Kshatriya personality. So one person can have all three dimensions, all three varna or three varnas in various dimensions. Now then the question comes, is there a gradation in these varnas? Are there gradation? Is there a superior varna? Is there an inferior varna? Then we will have to again go with each of the dimensions. As far as jati vibhāga is concerned, birth-wise division or birth-wise classification, all four are equal by birth. Birth alone cannot give any superiority or inferiority to a person. And then if we take the profession, karma vibhāga, there also all are equal. No profession is inferior, no profession is superior. All jobs are equally important for the society to run. And that's why we say, we call work is worship. We don't say Brahmana work is worship, Kshatriya work is worship. We say work is worship. Any work is worship. And then when we come to Guna Vibhāga, character, of course there is a gradation and there is a choice on the individual. In karma also there is a choice that is available to us, but in the karma it is better to take what is in line with our guna. So in a guna vibhaga there is a gradation, and there we are not supposed to accept what we have as a guna. We should put an effort to change our gunas, and the gunas, to change the gunas, if we are in the Guna Shudra, we will have to move ourselves to Guna Vaishya, from there a Guna Kshatriya, and from there to a Guna Brahmana. That gradation can, that improvement can only be step by step. A person cannot go from a Guna Shudra directly to a Guna Brahmana. That progress can be made only step by step. So this is just a vichara that we did on the varnashramas. Now we'll go to the sloka. We saw in the sloka, Chaturvarnyam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhāgashaha. So he said, Bhagavan said, the fourfold division of the society has been created by me. And he said it is based on guna and karma. Bhagavan did not mention jati. Bhagavan mentioned guna karma. Based on profession, character and profession, I have divided the society, or I have classified the society. I have brought this fourfold divisions of society. Now in the next line, Bhagavan says, Tasya kartāram apimam vidya akartāram avyayam. Tasya kartāram apimam vidhi mam. Vidya tasya kartāram apimam vidhi akartāram avyayam. Now vidhi mam means know me. Vidhi mam, know me. Bhagavan says no to Arjuna, know me. Tasya. Tasya means to be its. You know me to be its. What is that? What is he referring to? Tasya, when he says tasya, he is referring to the Chaturvarnyam. He says the Chaturvarnyam Kartaram, the one who, the author of this fourfold division, know me to be its akartāram. Bhagavan says akartāram. Akartāram means non-doer. Api. You know me also to be, api means also. So Bhagavan says, you know me to be the author of these fourfold divisions, you know me to be the non-doer of all these four divisions also. So in the first line he said, I created the division. Now in the second line he says, I am akartaram, non-doer of what? The fourfold divisions. So Bhagavan is basically seems to be contradicting himself in the same sloka. So he says, I created the fourfold divisions. Now he says, know me also to be the non-doer of these divisions. And Bhagavan also gives another lakshana for himself at the last word. He says, avyayam, changeless. So how do we need to understand this? So Bhagavan is basically coming to another point here. See, he is basically trying to get into the main topic of this chapter. The main topic of this chapter is Jnāna Karma Sannyāsa Yoga. So that seed for that chapter is actually in the second line of the sloka. We will be seeing this Jnāna Karma Sannyāsa later, but right now Bhagavan is changing topics here. So Bhagavan says, I am the doer, and then he says, I am not the doer. Or rather he said, I did that, but I am not the doer. So how to understand this sloka without any contradiction? For that we will do a small vichara. First of all, we have to understand that any object cannot be with viruddha dharma, which means a pair of opposites cannot exist in the same place at the same time. For example, darkness and light cannot be at the same place at the same time. It can be at different times or it can be at different places. But at the same time, in the same place, both darkness and light cannot coexist. So whenever we do this vichara on any sloka, first of all we will have to ensure that there should not be any doubt. So that's why we want to do this vichara, so that because it seems to be contradicting. Similarly, so the pairs of opposites cannot exist at the same place at the same time. Similarly, we have to understand this. If a person is a kartā, if somebody has done a job or an action, he becomes the bhokta also. For every action that we do, we will be the receiving party of this karma pala. One cannot be just a kartā without a bhokta. I cannot commit a sin without hoping that this effect of the sin will not affect me. Similarly, if I do a punya, the effect of the punya will definitely reach me. So one cannot be just a kartā or just a bhokta. So here Bhagavan says he is the kartā of the four varnas. Then surely he must be the bhokta. And if he becomes kartā and bhokta, then that is a definition of a samsari. Then the question will arise, is Bhagavan a samsari then? So how we have to understand is, whenever we say I did this, I did that, we take ourselves, the I, to be the body. And we take the I to be the sentient being also. I ate, I spoke, I walked, which means the body and the sentient being both together are included in that I. So the sentient ātma and the anātma are included in that I. We know that when I say that, but we are not able to differentiate that. If we are able to differentiate, then it becomes that I will have separate meanings. One I will be the Chaitanya Drishti, the other I will be from the Anātma Drishti. Here when Bhagavan says I, Mam, Chaturvarnyam Maya Srishtva, Bhagavan also has a body and Bhagavan also has a Chaitanya Swarupa. What is the body of Bhagavan? The Samashti Shariram is the body of Bhagavan. What is the Chaitanya Swarupa? The Brahman is the Chaitanya Swarupa of Bhagavan or Ishvara. Just that the difference between Bhagavan and I or the Jiva is Bhagavan already has this knowledge that he is Brahman and he is covered by Maya. The Maya is in his control. And therefore, the Maya's Avarana Shakti, we saw that in a few slokas earlier, the Maya's Avarana Shakti does not bind Bhagavan. So when Bhagavan says I in the first line, in the second line, let's look at the second line now. If Bhagavan says I in the second line here, he says I from the standpoint of Brahma Swarupa, Purna Swarupa. He says I am not, know me to be the non-doer. And when he says I am the non-doer, he says I am akartā. So from the standpoint of Brahman, Bhagavan is a non-doer. Whereas from the standpoint of Brahman plus Maya, Bhagavan is the kartā of the universe. He is the creator, he is the sustainer, he is the one who takes back this creation. So Bhagavan in this sloka talks from two standpoints. The first line was Bhagavan's standpoint is Brahman plus Maya. The second line Bhagavan talks about from the Brahman standpoint only, Brahma Drishti eva. So Bhagavan in the first line basically says, using my Maya, I created these 4 varnas. Then in the second line he says, know me to be the non-doer because I am actually Brahma Swarupa. I am this Abhyayam, I am this changeless Jnana, I am this changeless Brahman. How can we say changeless? Bhagavan has said that Abhyayam Akartaram. Abhyayam means changeless. So Bhagavan says, Arjuna, do not see to us, do not see me as Brahman with Maya, or in other words, Brahman with attributes, or what we call as Saguna Brahman. All the various forms of Ishvara that we worship, Shiva, Parvati, Durga, Vishnu, Ganesha, are all Saguna Brahman, Ishvara with attributes, that is Brahman plus Maya. But Bhagavan says, know also Arjuna, and he is also addressing us, know me to be also that Brahman without Maya. In other words, Nirguna Brahman. So I am also the Nirguna Brahman. And I created all these with my power of Maya. But I as Brahman is not related to any of these. That will be further explained by Bhagavan in the next sloka, that I am not related to any of these. Now the question for us here is, okay, let Bhagavan be Sagunan, Nirgunan, how does it help me? How is this important to me to know Bhagavan is Nirguna Swarupa? So the answer is, if we understand Bhagavan to be Nirguna Swarupa, Nirguna Swarupa is also the Nitya Swarupa, which means it is ever present. And then it is also the Mukti Swarupa. Then what will happen is, and Bhagavan is going to give in the coming slokas, he says, anybody who knows my real nature to be this nature of mine, which is Brahman alone, Nirguna Brahman, that person will get mukti. And not only they will get mukti, they will also be Nitya Swarupa. They will also have Nitya Swarupa. They will also have Mukti Swarupa. So Bhagavan is going to say, your nature will also be that, my nature will also be that. In other words, Ishvara Jnana and Jiva Jnana will be one and the same. So from the second line of this sloka, Bhagavan has basically seeded he is planted the seed for Jnāna Karma Sannyāsa Yoga or Jnāna Karma Sannyāsa. We are going to see what is Jnāna Karma Sannyāsa from Sloka 18 onwards, but he has now planted the seed. And there Bhagavan is going to see, it's going to be a bit complicated, but if we understand, if we listen carefully, we will be able to understand. Bhagavan is going to be saying, see action in inaction, see inaction in action. Those things we will see in detail. Now in this sloka, Bhagavan has given two drishtis for the word I. And how can we get two drishtis? Only when we are able to separate the I. Then we can get through two drishtis. So what are those two drishtis? One is Brahma Swarupam, the other one is Māyā Swarupam. From the Brahma Swarupam standpoint, Bhagavan says, I am non-doer. From the Māyā Swarupam, Bhagavan says, I do everything. Now, what is it for us? For us also it is the same. We should understand that we also have a component of ātma and anātma. When I say I, there is a sentient ātma and then there is the insentient or jata swarupa anātma or the body. So when I say I am always mixing these two, and I should be able to separate these two and be able to identify myself with the real I, which is Atma. So this is important. And Bhagavan has already given an example to make us understand about these two. In chapter 3, sloka number 22, Bhagavan said, Name partasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana. Hey Arjuna, there is nothing to be pursued by me in the three worlds. And then he says, Nanavaptam avaptavyam varta evacha karmani. He says, there is nothing to be attained by me which is not yet attained. Still I remain in action. He said, there is no reason for me to be, there is no duty for me, yet I am engaged in duties. The same way, we will have to understand that when I am able to split my I into ātma and anātma, and if I am able to identify myself with the ātma, then I am akartā. Body does the action. The mind does the action, and I am free from it. I need not take any guilt feeling from there. But we should also understand, if I am not able to do so, I let the body do whatever it wants, and I say I am not the one who is doing it, it's the body, then we have to be careful. If the body gets something back in return, then we should be able to disassociate ourselves from the body at that point of time also. That it is the body which is facing the punishment. That I am not the one who is actually punished here. So we should be able to understand that. So that is the sloka here. So Bhagavan says, Tasya kartāram apimam vidhi akartāram avyayam. Know me to be its author, also know me to be the non-doer and changeless. This is sloka number 13. Now we'll go to sloka number 14. Namam karmani limpanti न मे कर्म फले स्पृहा इति मां योऽभिजानाति कर्मभिर्न स बध्यते न मां कर्माणि लिम्पन्ति न मे कर्म फले स्पृहा इति मां योऽभिजानाति कर्मभिर्न स बध्यते. Here Bhagavan says, though I am the kartā, the karma phalam will not bind me or disturb me. In other words, he says karma cannot disturb me. So we just saw, if a person is kartā, the same person is the bhokta also. So if a person performs action, he must experience the result. Here Bhagavan says, though I perform the action, I do not get bound by actions. And Bhagavan is giving the reason why he is not bound by the action. He says, namam karmani limpanti. Karmani means actions, activities. Na limpanti mam. Limpanti means affect me. Affect. So, na limpanti mam. Do not affect me. So, actions or activities do not affect me. How do these actions and activities affect us generally? It creates tension, anxiety. After doing an action, we are anxious whether we will get the result what we want. And then Bhagavan says, Name karma phale spruha. Name spruha. Bhagavan says, Name spruha. I do not have any craving. Spruha means craving. I do not have a craving. For what? Karma phale. With regard to the result of the action. So normally when we are always having this craving that I should get what I want, that's why we do most of the actions. Or every action, we have a result in mind when we do the action. Not only with having the result in our mind, we also have the craving to have that result. We want to have that, we don't say result, we want to have the desired result. So that is spruha. Bhagavan says, karma does not bind me and I do not have a spruha on the results of karma. So how come Bhagavan is not bound by karma even though he performs actions? Bhagavan is giving two reasons here. One reason is hidden, one reason is direct. The hidden reason, the direct reason we saw already, Name spruha. The hidden reason is Bhagavan is ahankara abhavat. Bhagavan does not have a ahankara in action. Ahankara means the notion of I am the doer. That I am performing that action. That ahankara is not there with Bhagavan. So ahankara abhavat, that is the hidden reason. Of course, the second reason is phala ichcha abhavat. I do not have a desire on the results of the action. Bhagavan said, Name spruha. I don't have a desire, I don't have a craving on the results of the action. And therefore, karma does not bind me. How come Bhagavan is not bound by karma even though he performs actions? As I said, two reasons. Similarly, let's take, for our case, when we perform an action, what we do, we always say, I am doing it. But if I do not have this feeling that I am doing it, if I do not have an ahankara, then we will also be calm, peaceful. But what happens generally when we perform an action, somebody is finding fault in what we did, we become unhappy because that person is finding fault. It may be a genuine problem in the action, but we still become unhappy. Why? Because we consider that we are the one who is doing it. We have that attitude, I am the one who is doing it. If we do not have that feeling that I am doing the action, whatever faults that are found, we will not be affected by it. Similarly, if we have a desire on the result, I want this, I want this, I want this, I'm not getting this, I'm unhappy. So Bhagavan says, neither do I have ahankara, nor do I have desire on the outcome. Therefore, karmani namam limpanti, or karmani na limpanti mam. The actions do not affect me. So whatever condition is valid or true for Ishvara, the same condition is valid for Jiva also. So we Jivas, we perform action. If we do not have actions, if we do not want the actions to affect us, if we want to have a calm, peaceful nature, at all times if we want to be calm and peaceful, then we should follow the same thing. We should not have any ahankara on the action that we did, nor we should be craving for a result. Shastras do not give too many references between Ishvara and Jiva. Whatever law holds good for Ishvara, the same law holds good for Jiva also. So now we will come to the word limpanti. We know that samsara is responsible for creating the body. What is the reason for this body creation? It is samsara, the papa and the punya that we have accumulated over so many lives. That is the cause for this body. Now, how does it not affect me then? How can it not affect me if there is no papa or no punya that is responsible for creating the body? Then I will not have samsara. And how can I actually avoid creating papa or punya? By not having ahankara and not having a craving for the results. So if I am able to remove the ahankara on the action, remove this craving on the results, the action's phala, either the papa or punya, will not affect me. And thus I will be able to avoid samsara. Or at least that much of papa and punya I can avoid. So this is the understanding that we should have. Now coming back to this sloka, there could be another question. Why is Bhagavan not desirous of results? Why does Bhagavan take himself to be akartā? How does Bhagavan take himself to be akartā though he is performing all these actions? All these answers we will be seeing in the coming slokas. How can somebody be akartā even when he is performing actions? A person can be an akartā only by jnana, by getting a jnana. What is that jnana? We will be seeing later. We have already seen in the second chapter, but we will be again seeing that. And how can I be an akartā even though I am performing the action? That again Bhagavan is going to explain in this chapter, in the coming slokas. So the essence of this chapter is basically to give us the knowledge that will make us akartā. That knowledge which will make us akartā. That knowledge which will make us non-desirous of results. That jnana will be given in this chapter. That knowledge, that jnana will make our attitude change, or will help us to change our attitude towards all actions that we perform, towards all relations that we have, towards all possessions that we have. That jnana is called as Jnāna Karma Sannyāsa. Now in the second line, Bhagavan says, Iti mam yo bijanati karma birna sabhadyate. Iti means in this manner. Bhagavan says, Yah abhijanati mam. Yah abhijanati mam means, yah abhijanati means who clearly knows. Yah abhijanati, who clearly knows, who? Mam, me. So thus who clearly knows me. So Bhagavan saying, if a jiva clearly knows about me. So if a jiva comes to know that the Bhagavan is akartā, the Bhagavan is not desirous of results, what does the jiva gain? Bhagavan says, karma birna sabadhyate. Saha. Saha means he. Na badhyate. He is not bound. He is not bound by what? Karma bihi. Karma bihi means by actions. So Bhagavan says, if any jiva who comes, who clearly knows me, he is also not bound by actions. What is the clarity that we need when we say clearly knows me? Bhagavan says clearly knows me. That this person understands that Bhagavan is a mixture of two tattvas, and that person also does not get bound. How does that work? What does that mean? So the way we see the world is not based on how the world is. Rather, we see the world in the way we see ourselves. So whatever attitude or bhavana we have in our mind, it is with the same attitude that we understand this world as well. So in this world, if we see, there are so many things in this world, but where do we actually focus? Where do we show our attention? We show attention only on the things that we are involved. Bhagavan says, who understands me to be a mixture of two tattvas, Brahman and Māyā tattva? Only that person who is able to separate that out as a mixture of two tattva, only that person can be able to be non-bound by actions. If a person does not have this viveka of being able to separate the ātma and the anātma, if that person is not able to separate himself to be ātma and anātma, that person will not be able to separate the world also or Bhagavan also as Brahman and Maya. Are we able to see the world as Brahman and Maya? This is all Maya. Brahman is the ever-pervading, all-pervading Brahman. This whole world is Maya. Am I able to give that kind of, within quotes, reality to the world? Am I able to understand this world is Maya? Am I be able to not get affected by the things that are happening around me? For me to be able to get to that stage where I am able to clearly understand that this is Maya, the world cannot affect me, for that to happen, I should be able to separate myself, the self, the I, to be two I's, which is ātma and anātma. I am able to identify myself as ātma. I am able to disassociate myself with the body and mind. Mentally, intellectually, not physically. So that person who has got ātma jnana, that ātma jnana is also called as Jñāna Karma Sannyāsa. That person will be able to identify that the world or Ishvara is also a combination of Brahman and Maya. And once he understands that Ishvara is also Brahman and Maya, that person is not bound by actions. That is what Bhagavan says. A person who knows Ishvara to be also to be Brahman and Maya, he will also be able to he will also be free from bondage. He is also not bound by karma. That is what Bhagavan says in this sloka. Bhagavan keeps reiterating the same thing again and again. Bhagavan, next sloka. Because this is very important. This akartā, abhokta, the whole thing about if you see the Atma Swarupa, Atma has got multiple Swarupas. It's a Nitya, Sarvagataha, Avyayam. We say a lot of qualities of Atma. We call it Swarupa of Atma. The key Swarupa of Atma is Akarta and Abhokta. And if we are able to identify that, if we are able to identify ourselves through that Atma which is Akarta and Abhokta, and then that's the most critical thing for us to understand. That I am not the one who is performing the action. I am not the one who is actually taking the results of the action. This is the ultimate truth. So, next is sloka number 15. Evam jnātvā kritam karma purvairapi mumukshubhihi kuru karmaiva tasmātvam purvaih purvataram kritam. Evam jnātvā kritam karma purvairapi mumukshubhihi kuru karmaiva tasmātvam purvaih purvataram kritam. So in this sloka, whatever Bhagavan had said so far, he qualifies them as sishtachara and shows Arjuna what he needs to do now. What is sishtachara? We already saw that in the 3rd chapter. And how did we see this? We saw that for anybody to understand what is dharma and what is adharma, the first pramana are the Vedas. Vedas are the first pramana, the instrument of knowledge. So that is where somebody has to find out what is dharma and adharma. If somebody is not able to go into the Vedas to understand that, then the next available instrument of knowledge or pramana are the Smriti Granthas, the books or the text of the rishis and others. Now, even if somebody does not have access to these Smriti Granthas, then the next pramana are the Mahans, the elders. That is called as Sishtachara. They are the Sishtachara of the society. So Bhagavan says, whatever I had given as advice here, Arjuna, there are many people in the past who had got benefited. There shouldn't be no doubt to you. Many seekers in the past have attained their life's goal by following this advice of mine. Saying that, Bhagavan says to Arjuna what he needs to do now. This is the purport of this sloka. We will go to the sloka in the next class. This is the last 10 minutes. I'm going to try this format. We'll see if there are any questions, comments, any reflections that people want to do based on whatever has been taught either in this class or in the previous classes, and then we will take it. Any questions, comments or reflections?
I'm having a question here. When we spoke about Paramatma and the Jivatma, when you said Bhagavan associates himself to be in the Māyā form as well as without Māyā, that Paripurna Tattva form. Is that a difference well pronounced by this sloka? Because I'm not able to get it properly.
So Bhagavan in that sloka, which means Chaturvarnyam Maya Srishtva.
Yes.
So in the first line he says Chaturvarnyam Maya Srishtva. That is, I created these fourfold divisions. Right? Then in the second line he says Vidhi Akartaram. Tasya Kartaram Apimam Vidhi Akartaram as well. So I am the kartā, I am also to be the akartā. I am the doer, but also know me to be the non-doer. So Bhagavan says, in the first line he says I am the kartā, in the second line he says I am akartā. So in which context or under which situation, under what condition will he be karta, under what condition will he be akarta. Under the condition that Bhagavan, he identifies himself as Brahman plus Maya, he is the karta. Under the condition that Bhagavan is only Brahman, he is akarta. That is how we have to understand. I hope I was clear. Ashish ji?
So kartrutvam comes with Maya. That's what you're saying.
Sorry again?
Kartrutvam comes with Maya.
Correct. The actions are done by anātma only, which means Maya. So for us, all the actions come out of anātma. The body, mind, intellect, sense organs, pranaha are all anātma. All the actions that come out of ourselves, what we say I do, are all coming out from anātma. The ātma is akartā. The ātma is a sakshi chaitanya. The ātma is a witness principle. The ātma does not get affected by anything. In the same way, Brahman plus Maya, Brahman does not create anything. It is the Maya which creates this Varṇa Shakti and creates this samsara or this universe. Seemingly. Ashish ji?
Thank you. Firstly, I just wanted to be sure that I understood correct when you said that what Ishwar is saying is that if we understand that Ishwar and Maya are the same, then we would ourselves become one with Ishwar or Brahman.
Ishwar and Maya are not the same.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Ishvara has got, when we say Ishvara, it can be from two standpoints. One is with Brahman plus Maya, the other was Brahman alone. So whenever we give a form to Ishvara and worship that form, that is with the Maya Tattva.
Right. Right.
The real or the only thing that is present in this world is only Brahman.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the same way, when I say I am actually the Atma. The sentient being is only Atma. The anātma is all jadam. It's all only made of panchabhutas. And the panchabhutas do not have any sentiency. They do not have any consciousness. The awareness comes out of Atma. When I say I am doing it, it has got two things. I have got an awareness principle here. I am also doing an action. The action comes out of the anātma. The awareness is from the Atma. What Bhagavan says or what Shastra say is, this anātma is not you. That's why let's take an example when we actually, the death is an easy example to understand. We say, he left the body. We say, he left the body. When you say he left the body, it means he is not the body. That body belonged to him, but he was not the body. Body is anātma.
Yeah.
Okay. So that if we are able to identify and separate out that I am the Atma, Bhagavan says that is moksha. That is Jivan Mukti. That way you will be able to get peace and contentment at all times.
And that's, so earlier we always identified that the Gyan and hence the attainment of moksha is kind of a realization that Brahman is the reality and everything else is Maya.
Correct.
This kind of aligns with that.
Correct.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Karthik ji?
Yeah, as a seeker, the self-reflection on guna dharma, right? how important is it? Or, I mean, sometimes I get confused where do I belong, right? From a guna standpoint, I could be anywhere. So I could be anywhere, meaning I'm sure that I am not essentially qualified for the highest category there. But should I, spend too much of a time trying to analyze where I fall? Because you said it is a step-by-step procedure. And moreover, or should I just focus on, okay, my North Star is Sattva from a Guna Dharma standpoint where I need to get to. So just keep working towards it. Or a good understanding, a good reflection, I should be spending time on, having a good sense of where I am from a Guna Dharma standpoint, right? So that I can assess my own individual journey. I sometimes when I analyze myself, right, I sometimes kind of, where do I fall? I'm not sure. So that confusion is there. Is that confusion needs to be, I think you understood the gist of it.
Yeah. The confusion did not be addressed.
Guruji, Guruji, can I just add to that, because it's an extremely important point Karthik ji has raised.
Yeah.
Because I think it's important for us to understand, and hence we need to probably devote some more time to this topic of guna versus karma. What is in our control, and what is it that we can actually modify, move high to the higher plane, etc. through which path? If you can probably devote some time to this, it'll be very helpful.
Sure. I mean, I've got 2 minutes now. I'll give a short answer now. It may not fully satisfy you. Maybe we'll have to discuss this later in the next class. Do I need to get worried, or do I need to actually look into where I am falling in the sattva, rajas, tamas? Am I a kshatriya, guna kshatriya, or a guna vaishya, or a guna shudra, or a guna this one? As of now, I would say one has to have a broad understanding of where my predominant guna is, but that need not be dissected every day or every moment to say where I am, have I actually improved on this or not. For a seeker, this is just a textbook understanding. For us, the seeker, the importance is in karma yoga. If we keep doing karma yoga, we will be there where we need to be, because the karma yoga will automatically make us qualified. So karma yoga along with some bhakti will automatically take us there. We need not actually validate ourselves every day on where we stand with regards to these 4 gunas, or these 4 varnas in terms of gunas. Okay. I think I'll probably stop here, and then we'll take further questions and discussions in the next class. Sorry, Krishnanji, we'll do it to next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.